However, despite this intellectual potential, I think that no one would disagree if I say that we have not learned to implement that potential in specific products and in specific successes. We have sent satellites into space and we have built nuclear power stations, but in terms of implementing our successes in everyday life, we are lagging behind. So implementing, commercializing this enormous scientific and intellectual potential in specific products that we all need. That is the task. And the task that Skolkovo would like to accomplish is to start bridging the gap, to transform the knowledge that we have into the specific products that our country needs so much. We want to create a hub, a pilot project, so that after we have had our share of setbacks and failures, we could extend our achievements to the rest of the country. So we understand that the physical Skolkovo is secondary compared to virtual Skolkovo, to the communications for networking and for working together. We firmly believe that success is only possible if we get the right kind of people there, the kind of people who think Skolkovo way. What does it mean? Very briefly, in a nutshell, people must believe. They must believe in themselves. They must believe in the goal. They must believe that they can overcome the many no's. We don't need it. We don't want it. It means just that it should be a very open environment and an environment that can communicate to the rest of the world. So it's a global project.
Skolkovo is really an environment to take young people and give them the opportunity for success. And that environment builds on several things. It builds on the rich education and research heritage of Russia, which is excellent. It builds upon a virtual, not just a physical location, because all of Russia has to participate. It builds upon the opportunity for people to take their ideas, turn that into intellectual property, and then bring that intellectual property into the marketplace. It builds upon the presence of venture capital, that whole cycle of entrepreneurial character, from angel investors to venture capital to commercialization of ideas. And that's really what Skolkovo translates into. It's opportunity for that next generation to be creative, entrepreneurial, and to take their ideas and bring them into the marketplace and create wealth for Russia.
The whole issue of talent is one of the top 2 or 3 issues that the CEO community across the globe is very much focused around. The sustainability of this country is going to be developed and dependent on the ability to really attract and retain that kind of talent. New ways to think about that issue, creating new environments, less hierarchical, more flexible, etc., is going to be the environment that the best and brightest really want to come and hopefully prosper for.
So what we're in it for is we think this will be one of the key future countries that will play a key role in high tech, that will build out an innovation center, and I don't minimize the risk. This is hard work and takes a lot of heavy lifting, but is willing to make that sacrifice. And so what we see is a country that's going to transform itself, and we're going to invest very, very heavily. We're committed to putting R&D here. We're going to focus on video and also smart grid as our first initiatives. And we're here because we think it's a win-win environment for all sides involved. In Silicon Valley, when you fail, it's the red badge of courage. In Russia, when you fail, it's almost something you can't recover from. Anybody who isn't willing to take risk and realize that you can fail isn't going to get ahead in life. When I bet on a new idea, it takes me 4 to 5 years before it comes to market and another year before it's a billion-dollar product. So it is a willingness to fail and not having that fear that I think is so important to this project.
Many of us have read a book written by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers. And he's emphasizing that there are 5 ingredients needed for success for an individual, for a company, for a nation. What these 5 ingredients are: right timing, revolutionary technology, right talents, risk-taking capacity, and finally, right ecosystem. And when looking at these 5 ingredients or dimensions of success, I think it's exactly what we are looking at Skolkovo. Risk-taking is critical, and venture funding, this business environment at Skolkovo is able to assist in that. But if that type of long-term perspective exists both on business side and on governmental side, I think this is going to be a real success story for Russia.
I wrote in my article, Skolkovo is not a place, it is rather an ideology.
We focus on changing the mindset in learning culture, not the teaching culture. Executive training no longer just focus on high-level business leaders. It started to focus on potential business managers.
That when the government, from an institutional standpoint, begins to focus on the talent and the human capital agenda items, and if this government does not have the similar approach, like for Skolkovo, from a competitive standpoint, you'll be at a real disadvantage.
If I define talent, I'm not just looking for a classical MBA school profile. I'm looking for some person that has depth and that has breadth. And the depth very often can come from the personal life as well as from the business life. So I call it the T-shaped model.
And from the very beginning I thought that this project will be a new green field and very important project in this particular field, not pure science, not pure education, but creation of an ecosystem of entrepreneurship, including all the elements. Thinking the Skolkovo style means thinking globally, and in order to think globally you have to learn to do so. We must be honest, either you go to a global world and live there, or you can bring that global world over here. Which do we prefer? Russia can export intellectual services like India and China.